Hey guys, I'm Anarchy, bringing you the chaos as always.
I'm just gaming.
And I'm Goblin Green.
And we've just seen The Ghost in the Shell.
Yes, we have.
Yay.
The new movie,
So,
2017.
we've all watched the anime here.
We have all watched the anime. Yes.
First
We've all
off,
watched the anime.
all of us have.
Yeah, so we've all seen it. We all know the story, the
Yeah.
theme, and the
Everything.
plot of it.
We got it.
So going to this movie, we were prepared. I did my research. I'm not usually an anime guy, but I did do research on it.
There you go.
I do research before I go to movies.
So,
So I was prepared. So,
okay, so
I want to kind of go into Goblin first because
I don't know.
this is a big
This
movie
movie
for
is
Goblin.
really weird.
And when it was announced, clip of what Goblin's reaction was to it.
Remember how we were talking about Ghost in the Shell? It's
Yeah.
coming out,
Yes.
live
Yeah,
action.
Yeah.
Apparently the studio is also releasing the actual movie, the animated movie, in theaters.
Ooh.
So that you don't have to see the piece of shit will be.
Oh yeah. Okay.
New
so the
one.
anime- okay.
You can see the anime
That's cool. Yeah.
that they're trying to be like and failing.
Yeah, I feel like that was great.
Goblin is not at all mad about this
You
at all.
know who's directing the Ghost in the Shell live action movie? The same guy who made Snow White and the Huntsman.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the same guy who did Avatar. I was
No.
going to be like,
Yeah!
No.
Snow White and the Huntsman.
He's
Jesus,
bad.
that was a
Fucking-
horrible movie too, though.
You know what's sad? Is that's his only movie he's directed. Is
Oh,
Snow White and the
so-
Huntsman.
Yeah.
And now he's moving on to adapting a 30-year-old anime that's a total classic in anime circles. Inspired The Matrix, inspired so many sci-fi stuff, was like the focal point for a lot of sci-fi. And they're gonna fuck it up hard.
I feel like maybe he's like has a passion for it. He's really interested. From our nerd news. So
Classic.
there we go. So Goblin. Okay, first question I want to ask on camera. How does it compare to what you thought it would be? Like when you
Okay,
first
well,
heard it?
first of all, it's not as bad as I thought it'd be,
There you go.
but it's...
It beats Avatar.
Yeah.
I say we go into pros first. Let's get
Yeah.
the pros out of the way.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah.
Let's go into that,
Done.
and then we'll get to the nitty
Okay.
gritty, the fun part that you guys always want. To see.
Pros, it looked, there was a lot of scenes that were fucking
Oh, this
Dead on.
fucking dead on. The
Dead on.
cinematography was fucking
The
gorgeous.
Zack Snyder did where they used like
Definitely.
shit
Yeah.
from the original.
world
Yeah.
looked
Oh.
cool. I
Yeah.
just say
It
It
was
was fucking great.
The water scene.
It was
ah,
exactly
great.
the same.
The airplane flying over the skyscrapers and the person running down.
Exactly.
It was great.
It was great.
Fuck.
And then when he shoots the machine gun, he actually
Yeah,
he
yeah.
does the same
Exactly.
movement.
Yeah, it was very
It's
cool.
Very well done.
They definitely, you could tell there was a fan doing this movie.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
And I really just love the way the city came to life and how it felt alive. I don't know if you guys felt that too.
Yeah.
But I really liked the way they created the city. The CGI for the city was,
Yeah, it was really
spot
cool.
on. I think it was used really well.
Yeah. No,
And it was definitely it was a unique experience.
Yeah.
I've never seen a city quite like that. I don't
True
know.
enough. True enough.
A couple older movies I've seen it, but never like on this on
yeah.
that scale.
Yeah.
They had a bigger scale.
That was
to it.
definitely insane.
Oh god.
Okay, so I
And the main villain in the movie.
Yeah,
he was developed.
He
was
for
well
what
developed.
he was.
disclaimer.
Yeah.
Total disclaimer is he was a great villain, but not like the
Yeah,
one from the
not
anime.
like that.
He was like if we just separate them,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the anime. And
As villain,
as a
he's
villain,
pretty
he
good.
was very well.
The thing
developed.
is
shit.
he's not the villain he was in the anime, but he's not a bad villain.
He's not bad.
So
Ah,
it works, but it doesn't. But it's
it,
this is a really
shit.
this is
weird
the most
movie
conflicting
It
movie.
is so
that we've
conflicting.
ever had to review.
Honestly.
I think so far.
Fucking hell.
All right.
Any
other good things do we
again,
have?
costume design was good.
Oh,
the
the
costume
costume
design was pretty good. The obviously
everyone.
the effects, the robot effects, very
Yeah.
well done.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the
True.
the main pros of this movie is that it looks really cool.
It does.
True.
I would have to say the plot, if it wasn't connected to Ghost in the Shell, would have been a really
Oh,
good plot.
yes.
I will say that.
I think
So
this
good.
movie minus Ghost in a Shell would have been very good.
If you haven't seen Ghost in the Shell and you're not planning on it, you'll still enjoy this
Yeah.
movie. You'll definitely find enjoyment in this movie, and I can definitely say that.
Exactly.
The plot is really well thought out,
Yeah,
despite
it's
it
good.
not being the actual plot that's
Yeah.
supposed to be.
For me, it should have been a movie that was inspired. by
Yes,
Ghost in the Shell.
inspired
That's it.
or just its own sci-fi
Yeah.
movie.
Not
I-
Ghost in the Shell, but
Because some of the ideas that were used, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways,
we'll get into it. But fuck.
Any other
I can't
pros?
really list those. Like, I mean, at least their looks looked
Yeah.
like from
She
the
looked-
anime.
Yeah.
Every character acting was perfect, I think.
Yeah.
All the
they were
acting.
pretty
good.
good.
They
Yeah.
had,
Those were great.
they had a lot of stuff from the movie, like the fingers typing
Yeah,
and the
true.
plugins on the back of the
Yeah,
neck.
true.
They got a
Dead
lot
on.
of base stuff, right? The intro where they're making her.
Yeah, it's great.
that was great. That was
Dead
perfect.
on.
That was
Fucking
dead on.
yes.
It was dead on, and
That
it was
good.
beautiful.
Fuck yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that's.
Yeah, okay.
It really was a cool looking movie,
It
and it
was.
was really good if you're
It
not
was.
familiar with the anime.
But if you're familiar with the anime,
Then we
it's
get
like,
into-
it gets fucking, it gets real. Okay, so the first thing is that the human population does not have like fully cybernetic minds with human cells.
Now, the interesting part about that is, so the deal is, like with the original animated movie, from what I remember, they never distinctly make it clear that everyone is augmented,
Yeah.
but there are scenes where a human is a rarity and it's treated as such.
Yeah.
yeah.
So it leads
Yeah.
one to believe
That
most people are
Are-
ghosts in shells.
Yes.
Yes.
Right, that's what it leads me to believe. I don't know if the manga's different, but the original anime, as it stands, made me believe that.
Yeah.
Especially because humans could be hacked and their memory switched.
Exactly.
I feel that
Makes more
adds
sense.
as
more
it-
strength to it, and it makes the puppet master more formidable. I
True,
think
yeah.
when he can control anyone's mind,
And it makes
him
sense
more
because they're
formidable.
more, yeah.
It makes him kind of stronger as a villain too.
But I think that played really well into it played really well into the villain, and it played really well into what the story was trying to get across.
Yes, the whole theme and plot.
Yeah.
I feel like this whole augmented like humans who are just parts of brains or not even like parts of brains inside pieces
slightly.
inside of a robot. I think that was very well. I think like that was more what they were looking for.
Yeah.
But in the movie,
Yeah.
sadly, they make a point of Major is the only.
Yeah, the only
Ghost
one
in a
that's-
shell.
Yeah, but yeah.
It makes her more unique on one hand, but on the other hand, it kind of makes a lot of what
creates plot holes.
it just like it makes
Yeah.
the villain seem less powerful.
Yeah.
I would say
Sure.
like and of course we'll get into the villain a little later,
Yeah.
but I feel like the whole kind of not everyone being augmented kind of ruined it.
It makes it kind of
Yeah, definitely.
weird. Like it's not. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, this next thing.
Okay, what's the next little thing?
All right, here we go. Let me fucking open my phone for a second here. Okay.
We can just cut that out. Like,
Okay.
you don't have to tell the audience, Marcel. I can just cut it out.
Fine, great, whatever. Get up. Okay. Okay, we gotta get. Okay. The Major knows that she's a cyborg with a human mind from the get go.
Yeah,
She
this
just fucking
straight up
knows. Fully human brain.
I mean, like, I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to do this whole betrayal and using her, kind
Yeah.
of deal. And I get that.
Finding
but,
herself.
but that's not the point
Yeah.
of Ghost in the Shell, the
Yeah.
anime. That's not what they were going for in the anime.
No.
She's supposed to be like, oh, I don't know if I truly.
I
have
know
a
that they're
human
trying
brain.
to add ons and they're trying to extend to the character, but no, just no.
That's the whole
Well,
premise.
because in the anime, she has a great line in the car where she's saying,
Yeah.
like, I have cells from a brain, but what am I?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
What
I
am
haven't
I?
seen my brain,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
I haven't seen it.
It's
I don't
true
know
or
if
not.
I'm just a program or not.
Yeah.
But in this one, they literally
Yeah.
make the point that she has
As a
she's
brain.
fully human brain,
Yeah.
controlling an augmented body.
Yeah.
Fully.
But then
It's like-
she's still like, yeah.
Yeah. She's like, I'm gonna find
So
myself.
it kind of takes away the fact that she doesn't know what she is.
Yeah. She's from this.
And
So
that's-
it's like
And that's kind of disappointing, and it kind of makes it look.
Yeah.
Also, I kind of enjoy how in the anime they kind of didn't dwell too much on if she was human or not. Like they didn't really clarify what she was
Yeah.
until like at least 20 minutes in.
Yeah.
They didn't really
Yeah.
clarify,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
left a little bit of mystery. And this one, they're like, "You're a ghost in a shell
Yeah.
immediately."
Yeah.
Like, let's just explain this concept already.
Out the gate. So
I
it's
feel
like,
in the anime it felt more natural because when everyone in the world knows it and is
Yeah.
used to it,
Yeah.
it creates atmosphere where you're like, all right, well they'll
it's
just
just normal. It's like, oh.
yeah.
And then like if it's a human, it's like, whoa, what the hell? Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Ugh, the
Mainly human.
prostitutes.
Okay,
We'll
well,
get to that shit. Okay.
Ah.
So Major being a weapon in the corporate.
Okay.
See, I'm
Listen,
okay with
approach.
this as an idea in a
Yeah.
different movie, but it doesn't work in this movie
Exactly.
because that's not the point of the movie. It's not about her being a weapon
Yeah,
or
like,
you
they
know.
barely even talk.
training.
They barely talk about the
Yeah,
corporation in the actual.
yeah.
Like they mention it,
It's
but
just
it's
like-
not about
yeah,
that.
It's just a manufacturer that makes
Yeah.
the bodies. That's
Yeah.
it, really.
They treat it more as just a business.
Yeah.
I think
This
the
is
main
like a
reason they
whole-
really went into it is just time. They just wanted more
Yeah,
in there.
I think
Bigger
So-
villain too.
Yeah, bigger
Bigger
villain.
villain.
Make
So they can
everything
have- yeah,
feel
true.
bigger.
Yeah.
And it just no, not everything needs to be bigger.
No.
Bigger doesn't always mean better. Okay,
Seriously.
sometimes the simple and the
Simple
smaller stuff
approach,
is
that
unique
works.
and awesome.
And
in
I
its own way.
think this whole like shitting on corporations thing feels like a personal stamp
Yeah,
from the guy.
yeah, that's true. It would be more personal.
It doesn't feel like as like the whole point of the movie is the whole point of the original is to talk about what is and isn't human. There's no real corporation and like you know that kind of stuff.
Freaking
I mean, like this movie has a definite theme and
Definitely.
premise, and this doesn't need to be in it. I think this is just stuff that doesn't need to be in there. It's a
Yes.
cool idea,
Yes.
but it doesn't need to be in here. It's not a necessity.
Not at all. It's like
And that's my basic
It's
takeaway
just a weapon and everything.
I just
come on.
I mean, and also they've done that the
Yeah.
whole weapon stuff before.
Exactly.
Like
It's
even
been done
they
already.
like legit in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
They did it.
Okay, so the whole scene in the anime, right? Which, if you don't know, whatever. Just okay. The whole scene in the anime where like they bring in the body,
Yeah.
and then he starts talking about like how he is alive and he knows he is alive and like what is life.
Right.
That whole freaking scene.
The whole kind of point of explaining the puppet master's motivations.
Exactly. Like the main theme.
They never did it.
Yeah, that was not in this.
Closest
This
I
is
got to it was when she was caught.
Yeah.
yeah.
But then he was more talking about how he
Yeah.
personally was wronged and it's for revenge.
Yeah, and that kind of
basically.
took away from him, made him a weaker villain almost.
Yeah.
Let's destroy them.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it made it
It's
seem
like,
like
no.
kind of cliche.
I was like, when I heard him say like, "Don't trust the corporate," I was like, "Really?
Yeah, like,
really?
Don't do
You know,
that. Don't
come on,
do
like-
that now.
you know,
His whole point in the original villain's whole point was he's better than humanity. And
Yeah.
He can make something that's better than
Exactly.
humanity.
He has like so much information, knowledge that
Yeah.
humans
And
don't
that's
know
such a
about
cool concept and
Yes.
premise.
It's also it was interesting.
It's just strong.
Governments trying to track down code, and they have to literally find a way to keep it in a body so they can
yet. Yeah,
Yeah.
talk to it.
exactly.
Like that was the whole point
True,
of
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Like,
But
trap
in
it.
in this one, he's a full body.
Yeah.
Legit in the movie, in the original movie, he says he was just code, and this is the first
Yeah.
time he's been in a body.
Exactly. So he's exposed to death, and then
Yeah.
that added a whole like.
Yeah.
Yeah. In this one, it's in the movie. He's the guy.
He's just a guy.
He's
He got,
exactly what Major is,
he got screwed over. Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he just got screwed over, and then they were like.
and it kind of
buddies.
ruins the villain as him as a character.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He,
was-
kinda,
I think
he
he was
felt
way
more
more
petty too.
He did.
He's like, "Fuck you guys."
Yeah.
revenge.
Yeah.
It's just revenge. It's a revenge.
So like the base theme is that like she like ran away, right, and then she had a whole bunch of friends, her family, and then they
Yeah.
got taken by the government and made into these ghosts.
because they
in the
just
shell.
used him because they're homeless kids.
Yeah, and they kind of screwed him over.
I like the idea of the government doing that,
Yeah,
but it wasn't.
but it's not go. Yeah,
It's not.
Ghost
It's
in the
not
Shell.
Ghost in a Shell.
They added
and that is the
they
problem.
added more
Yeah.
plot to it.
That is the
Exactly.
problem with this movie. Is that
Yeah.
yes, it's a good movie on its own, but it's not the movie that everybody wanted.
Exactly.
It comes so close is the issue.
Exactly.
All right, so
God damn it, man. All right. Okay. Okay. The entire bar scene.
okay, listen.
First, then we'll get into.
Okay, listen. This is my personal pet peeve for that fucking movie. All right, so there were scenes that went nowhere. Okay, the first scene that went nowhere, in my opinion, that was horrible was the bar scene. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
It was AIDS, absolute AIDS.
Basic.
Like legit, they literally have the scene to explain why the secondary character has robot eyes. That's the whole point of the scene.
Basically.
And also, they wanted a fight scene.
Yeah.
That's definitely they wanted an
Yeah, they
action
wanted
scene.
an action
Yeah.
scene. They wanted
And
to
to
get his
extend
eyes
time.
and to extend time.
Yeah,
My
and-
problem is like this could have been used to develop the character with the revolver or any other
True.
character
Exactly.
better, I think.
but it was more of a fight.
And
It's
if
just
they
a
really
fight.
wanted to explain his eyes, they could have had a quick little flashback of the bar.
True.
scene.
Yeah.
They didn't have to have the
That's
whole
just
scene. They could have just had a quick
some
little.
shit.
You know, if they really wanted to explain the eyes,
Yeah.
just do a flashback or have it so he's like, I lost him in like battle.
Yeah.
or-
He should have the eyes
Their
from the
tactic,
get go.
it'd make more sense. And this, they spent a whole plot point on talking about how he's connected to the gangs or something, and
It's
then
it's really weird.
what?
There's like a whole pedo-y vibe.
Yeah, there's a whole
out of
like
nowhere.
rapey
rapey,
vibe.
It's like,
It's,
what?
it's weird and it's unnecessary and it doesn't fit in with
Yeah.
the Ghost in the Shell.
It feels wonky when they put it in.
Seriously. And you could have just had him like, oh, my eyes hurt, and she'd be like, oh, like the bar scene.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I remember that. Done.
That whole scene
Easy.
was just it was
Done. Explain.
unnecessary.
It takes away from the central focus of
Yes.
the,
But
of
yeah,
the
so
movie.
that sucked. Also, we've dubbed it the prostitute scene, where she goes to the streets and then she just
That just
She meets
That-
this like other.
Was the
Meeting
meeting a
most
I think-
human should be like why
Random
there?
part.
Why then?
And
Why
then there's
her?
like a full scene where they're just like
Listen,
touching.
she touched her lips.
No,
and then she had to
no.
touch human lips.
Oh my god!
like
so
yeah, I guess
bad.
to like what is human?
But like,
Like,
why
she does-
her?
she does-
They already
Why
have-
at that moment in the movie?
I
Why?
don't know.
Why? It doesn't
It's
make
not-
sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Like, why right there in the movie at that
Like,
very point? Does she
yeah.
need to walk down the street, walk up to some random prostitute, and be
True.
like, "Can I touch?"
True. You don't really see much conflict too. She
Yeah.
just kind of leaves, and then
She just leave, and
Done.
it's so confusing.
Originally, I was gonna be like, are they gonna make her like a lesbian?
Yeah, I was.
Or something? Is
Yeah,
that like the only
yeah,
way she
yeah.
gets pleasures
Yeah.
from sex or something?
True, that's what
But
I
then
thought.
she's ended up touching this.
yeah, then
My
so
thing
it's
is like,
what?
if I was not like, I'd be so confused as just a random guy at the movie watching this,
And then
Yeah.
and
Oh,
it's just
yeah,
it's not
definitely.
necessary, and it's
and that scene like I just described, you could even get into some philosophical stuff of like, you know, what is sex?
yeah,
True.
yeah,
If
exactly.
robots have sex, it's passionate sex or something.
That's what I was kind of
Yeah.
hoping they would.
I thought they
do.
were gonna do that,
Maybe.
but it's touched. the
That would have
lips.
been an interesting add-on that
Yeah.
might have worked. I think
Yeah.
that would have been something they could have
Is it-
added that wouldn't have
Yeah,
destroyed.
the theme they were going for was too simple for an entire scene. Like it's just like, oh yeah, that's human. All right, cool.
My problem is it
That's
just
what
feels
like.
misplaced. It doesn't feel like
yeah, no.
it fits
Definitely
in with
not.
where they are at the point of the movie. They're like not. They're like maybe at the beginning of the movie or something that would have
Yeah,
been good.
where she's like, oh yeah,
But
true.
not much is happening. But
Yeah.
right in the smack middle of the movie,
True.
all this
Oh,
stuff's
yeah,
happening,
dude,
and then
totally.
it just and then this
It just
it
happens.
it slows
Yeah.
right down, and this random scene happens.
Yeah.
And it takes you right out. of
Hold
the
on,
movie.
guys. We need to have a scene with the fucking
Yeah.
prostitute.
Like if this was like close to the intro where
Yeah, it would have.
she like gets consciousness and then later she's like, oh, but she's like doesn't
Yeah.
know what she is.
But it
That
takes
would
you
be
right
better.
out of like the conflict because
But
you're in the
yeah,
middle of the movie,
that's
shit's
true.
happening, and then nope,
Yeah,
sorry, we gotta go.
definitely.
We gotta go hang out with Miss Jamie Prost.
Yeah, that's just like what the fuck.
fuck you
Yeah,
talking
true.
about?
Good fucking point.
So stop.
All right, okay, the revolver, the guy with the revolver.
Hey, listen. All right. So here's the thing.
No time.
Is the guy with the revolver in the movie, like the real one,
Yeah,
the,
yes.
the anime?
Yeah.
He got some time in the car with Major.
Yeah.
He got a pretty decent character arc with the
Exactly.
pistol. He actually
Exactly.
helped people.
He-
He
like,
put the
yeah.
tracker in.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, like he's not a huge character,
No.
but come
No.
on.
He served to like add a sense of like old school and like basic
Yeah.
human cop
Yeah, that he's-
chill.
He was
Human,
he was
he's
kind
a
of, he was
decent cop.
he was
Exactly.
there to kind of demonstrate natural humanity as
Yeah.
opposed to artificial
Exactly.
humanity.
Yeah,
That's why he was
Dude.
there. But they just throw him away.
Yeah.
they just ruined his.
They ruined. They have the revolver and that's kind of cool, but it doesn't make. really
It's
much
not the
sense.
same without the
Yeah,
character.
Exactly. So it's
That's like
ah.
if you gave, if like in Batman vs Superman, they decided not to do Batman. They had the Batarang.
Yeah.
And it's funny
It's like,
because in the anime, right? He's like they're like I don't. They're like auto pistols work just as
Yeah.
well, right? And then later you see that the one guy in the river,
Yep.
his pistol jammed.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So
you're
it-
like,
the
it
lines
feels a
let
little
into
bit
each
better.
other.
yeah, it works really well. They give little hints and nudges to what's gonna
Exactly.
happen, and they
But-
leave a little bit of mystery.
But it just
Yeah.
I'm not saying super develop this character. I'm just saying this character served
Yeah.
to kind of juxtapose because it's a human,
Yeah,
you know, and that really worked.
Contrast.
But now you don't need that because everyone's
Yeah.
human.
yeah, it
Because
was
everyone's
very
mainly human, so-
symbolic.
Exactly.
It had a point,
You know.
and it's not like he needs to be super developed. But it would have been nice to at least have the character there.
But he was.
'Cause that's not the character.
Eating soup.
but it wasn't clear. Like,
yeah, it wasn't.
They said
clear.
his name once.
Yeah, and he was just he
Like-
was so boring, and he didn't really do anything.
seriously, yeah. Like
In the
Yeah.
actual anime, he does stuff.
At least give him something.
At least give him something.
he had a revolver.
He used a machine gun at one point too
Yeah.
in the movie,
It's
so it
weird.
ruined his
I
entire
don't know. I don't
character.
know. It's just, that was a little kind of weird.
Next.
Okay, this is a little bit more in the beginning, but the whole deep dive.
Oh,
Don't
my.
even fucking bring
so we're
that
heading
shit in my
a little
fucking
bit
mouth.
close to the end here because
They
yeah,
just
yeah.
waste the deep dive.
Yeah. Okay,
Don't
so
even.
the deep dive was supposed to be mainly at the end.
It symbolized
The
the
puppet
premise
master,
and
yes.
everything.
And they fucking blow it
it's the
in
big.
the beginning with a geisha, right?
He's not even a
To
human.
look for information and maybe him.
It's the main event of the movie. It's what the movie's been
Yeah,
leading to
it's
go to,
literally
and they use it. They waste it
They
at the
waste it.
beginning.
with a
So
geisha.
all of that is just wasted.
Yeah.
You're excited. It's building up. No, okay.
I was
It didn't.
pissed because I was like, are they going to end this movie early? Because they're
Yeah.
already the deep
Yeah,
dive.
I'm
So
so
what?
confused.
How
I
are
was
you going to end this movie without the
like-
deep dive? Oh, and fuck.
For you to know, who don't know, the deep dive was mainly to like go in with the puppet master, the main villain, and then talk about frickin' like what's going on, what he believes, and basically have a conversation.
I mean, like,
about
and
that
some
shit.
people might argue that, well, he
Relating.
was there, he was in the body, so they kind of deep dive. But no,
Yeah,
But they did it in the first 10 minutes.
yeah, so it kind of ruins that whole epic, like,
Oh,
ending to the battle with the
Yeah.
spider.
also, just on the side, he wasn't called the Puppet Master.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is
also.
stupid. I'm sorry, but
Put it down. Come
I
on.
like that name. It was a cool name.
Also, another thing I liked from the movie that they didn't capitalize on either is that he's an international,
Yeah.
like cybercrime guy.
Oh yeah, true.
Like,
yeah.
American. It's funny how there's Americans in the original movie,
Yeah.
but there's
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's weird. It's like
Yeah.
a weird blend, but
Americans come to that city and we're looking for our code because he was made by Americans,
yeah, true.
right? And in this, they don't even have the diplomatic stuff.
Yeah.
I know.
They mention the prime minister in passing a bunch of times.
True.
So glad they had the suitcase machine guns on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at least
true.
they bought
Positive.
At least
For
they
every-
bothered.
Yeah,
And
seriously.
the typing.
But yeah,
Okay, going straight mainly to the end here. The whole merging.
Uh,
There was no merge.
there was no merge, of course.
to create a new
Yeah,
being.
Which ruined it all. Ruined the whole
Yes.
ending of the movie. They changed
Exactly.
the entire ending, which is just it ruins it
Exactly.
even more. I was okay with like some of the shit earlier on, but I think the ending's what really, really just ruined. Like if they would have had at least the ending, this movie
That
would
would've
have
been
been forgivable.
fine.
Exactly.
But no, they
Then on
cheap
the
out
end.
on the ending too.
Yes, they're supposed to merge and then create a new fucking evolved freaking.
form of life,
Form
and then
of
it goes out and
Yeah, exactly.
like that was the whole lead up to the movie. Was like,
Yeah.
let's make an offspring that's not
Yeah,
human.
exactly.
It's computer
Yeah.
made.
Exactly.
But in this movie, she's like,
And-
I am human,
Yeah.
and then the guy gets shot, and that's it.
Yeah, they had it so close. They were right next to each other. He could have been like, I've collected a bunch of information while I've been like away, right?
Yeah.
And then let's freaking combine them. They
The
could have
premise
done
is
it.
so cool. The
They
idea of a
could've done it.
child of like
Of
Yeah,
computers.
Whole
yeah,
new-
AI, and that was really cool.
Yeah, that was sick.
But
Maybe-
nope, just ruin it
Yeah,
all.
And what's funny is they even address in the anime, they even address the plot hole in that. Like even in the anime, they're like, well, what if you just make duplicate of yourself?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be
Yeah.
Yeah,
a child?
copy.
And he actually responds with,
Exactly.
that's not a child, that's just me
Yeah.
again.
Which is the
Which
fuck
is
my
the
life.
point.
Of
Of
the
So they
deep
lit-
dive,
yeah.
which is the point of the deep dive.
Which-
They
Yeah.
literally even like talk about a possible plot hole and address it
Yeah.
in the original movie, and in this one they don't. Also, the dream shit was weird. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
it was a
like
little
the
bit-
dreams
it was-
and memories.
As- yeah, how she has like fake memories. and all that
My
shit.
biggest question is, so here's the deal: if the OG Ghost in the Shell were to do that,
Yes.
right? They would have like layers
Yeah.
of memories that don't exist.
True.
In this one, they're talking about how like, not all memories make the person stuff, but she chose
Yeah. Yeah.
like what she was,
And then
True.
they give her the
it's
memories.
like-
and then they give her the
They
real
just
memories.
conveniently have
Yeah,
them on
so then
file
it's like-
for her. There's no challenge.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, by the way, here you go. There you go.
There's
Goodbye.
your fucking memories.
There's your memories. The movie's
Hi,
solved.
Mom.
Conflict
Yeah.
is dealt with.
Yeah.
with.
Also, yeah, she has like a mom, right?
I
And,
thought
like,
that scene was kind of cool, but it didn't fit with what they
Yeah, no, it's not.
I
cool
like-
premise again. Like
I
you
like
said.
that idea of that
Yeah.
scene of like they put your daughter's brain in a completely
Yeah.
different body.
Yeah, and that's why
just-
she looks.
Then
different.
now they're talking,
Yeah.
and yeah, I like that idea, but it just.
It's not Ghost in the Shell.
It's not Ghost in the
It
Shell.
is not.
And that's anything else that we
Um,
wanted to talk about?
Oh, also the pussyfying of the combat.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I know they're trying to get wide mass appeal, make
Yeah.
14A, but come on, man. Like they're trying to have action scenes, just have blood, guts, do your shit.
Yeah.
And the nudity.
Shit.
I think the nudity, we can just roll that.
Oh
in there,
yeah, I
too.
was gonna say
Because
yeah.
that all has to do
How-
with the rated R and the
like,
14A.
the
Well,
main-
and that's just not us saying we want to see Scarlett Johansson's boobs.
No,
it's part
just-
of the story.
legit.
It has to do with
Because
the
they're
plot.
they're
Yes.
robots. They have no sense of.
Yeah.
They don't care if they're naked.
And
they have
her-
no
like the
shame
Matrix.
that a human has.
Yeah.
You know.
And Scarlett Johansson's suit was so weird. As soon as you
Yeah,
saw the neck,
it was.
from neck up,
Yeah.
it was
It was
like
like-
this white
Yeah, you
light
could
stuff,
just
and then it
see
was
it.
like her normal skin. It was really weird
It's
and
weird.
off-putting.
Just go-
And then when he
Fuck it.
grabs off her
Too
face, it's like
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little bit
It
weird.
was
It should have
weird.
showed more
Yeah.
robot. I don't know.
I like the concepts. I like where they were going with this movie, but they didn't. They either didn't get to the Ghost in the Shell that we wanted, or they were trying to be another movie.
Exactly.
They were doing a bit of both. Sometimes
Yeah,
they would do
exactly.
Ghost in a Shell,
And-
and sometimes they would do their own
Exactly.
movie, and it just doesn't
and
work.
this is why it's so fucking.
I mean, like, they did shit like the spider tank, which was fucking awesome.
No,
Good.
And you were hoping for. I knew you got excited.
He
for
didn't
that.
have the big fucking gun.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Which is
but
awesome.
I thought it was kind of better actually that the girls took.
But they had the whole scene. They had the
Yeah.
spider tank. She ripped off her arms. You saw her like freaking.
At least they did that.
They had all that shit.
They had her like it was her arm ripped off.
Exactly.
And it was
slow-mo,
beautiful.
it was great.
I felt
That
like
was
Zack
awesome.
Snyder directed that scene.
Seriously, that was awesome. But this movie, why it's so divisive is that like the base story that they're trying to tell, like the new story, is actually decent. It's actually decent. But then over top of that,
You're trying to be like Ghost in the Shell.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like
It's a good story in itself, but it's wrong. It's like for us. Okay, so Nolan's Batmans are different and they're unique spins, but we don't like the spin that they did. It's kind of like that, but we like the spin
but
at the
you
same
like
time.
exactly.
So it's kind of
So it's like,
hard for us because we like both. But Ghost in the Shell,
And
I like the story a little bit
Exactly.
more. So do you guys want to do like?
Yeah.
Do we have any?
I don't really have anything
Yeah,
else.
what are the part- the part that looks
Anything else
like it?
major to say about
I think I'm good. I think we should do
Yeah, I think I'm
anime rating and then the movie rating.
Yeah, we're gonna do separate because this is
All right, you want to go first?
Okay,
Trav?
so I'd like to
Fuck
point out
it
too that I like that we saw the anime before, like
Yes.
directly. Before.
Yeah.
And I'd seen him before, whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
So the anime, like the
This
base-
anime.
Yeah. So rate
OG.
we're gonna all rate the anime.
Alright, fair enough. So the OG anime, I'd give it like a 8.3. Bam.
And so so for me, for the anime, now I'm not a huge fan of animes, but I can respect the storylines. I can respect the people behind them. I can respect what they're trying to do. I'm not a huge fan of anime, but I can appreciate it. And I'm gonna give it a solid 8 out of 10. The story is beautiful. I love what they're trying to go with it. I love the theme. I'm a huge fan of themes and stories and premises and what is it to be human. I thought that was a really cool kind of idea and concept that they were fiddling around. I thought that was really cool in the anime. And I just kind of missed it in this one.
Yeah.
Mm.
God damn it.
I have the same rating.
You have to say?
I give it an 8.5.
Okay.
Because just like it's that and what it spawned.
Yeah.
Like
it's
this-
a big deal.
This
It is
movie
big
spawned.
fucking deal.
This movie got anime more popular in America, like
Yeah.
Akira did before, but
Yeah.
even more.
It's
It
a
was.
legendary.
It's one of the best looking animes. The look was so much
Ages.
work
Yeah.
done.
It does not
It
age.
doesn't
It
age.
looks
It's
still
it's-
awesome.
It's a great looking film. The voice acting needs work.
Yeah, the
Sure,
voice
that's-
acting
yeah,
is
that's
the
the
only
only
weak.
thing.
That's the only reason I don't get.
It would
0.5.
be it would be like a 9 if the
Yeah.
voice acting wasn't like.
Exactly.
It's just kind of.
It's just a
off.
little bland.
If it was re-voice acted, I think that'd be.
And again, I
Yeah.
just really respect and adore this movie.
So now let's do the nitty gritty movie. Alcatraz, you're gonna be leaving
as
this off
as
again.
like a interpretation,
As an
not
interpretation.
as a set, just the movie.
So we'll do the
as an
interpretation.
As an interpretation. As an interpretation, I'd give this a fucking 6.4 as an interpretation. Just because they got the fucking scenes like dead on,
Yeah.
and it's like, fuck.
I'm gonna give it a 6. The scenes are dead on, but I really miss the premise and the story. And for me, the scenes can be as great as they can be. But if you miss the premise and story, I'm sorry, you can't. I can't go any higher. Goblin?
5.
Yeah.
I give it a 5 for an interpretation. I'm not as disappointed as I thought it'd be. A 5 is still good.
Yeah.
A 5 is still it's a
5
good
is
movie,
passable.
Yeah.
right? But for me, it just didn't live up
Yeah.
to anything that the movie said that the original
close.
did.
Yeah.
It got some scenes, but then it added some scenes that you didn't
Yeah.
need.
Yeah.
The action was subpar at best. Like it looked cool sometimes,
Yeah,
but other
true,
times
but-
people just fell over. The look was great, but I didn't. I felt like it was wearing the makeup of the anime, but
Yeah.
it had no substance underneath.
sure, yeah.
That was like the anime. It had some really strong points, but as an adaptation film of a classic anime movie, I give it a 5. Let's go movie
As
by
a
itself.
movie.
Alright, so
Fuck,
Alcatraz
as a
leads off
movie.
again.
Not like if it was
If
just
it was just a
just a
brand new
movie.
movie, if Ghost in the
Sorry.
Shell didn't exist.
not Ghost in the Shell, whatever. It'd probably be, I'd say like a 7.6. Solid 7.6.
And I think I'm gonna give it a 7. I think I'm gonna go 7.
Yeah.
It was a good movie on its own. I did enjoy the premise that they were trying to set up, even though it was different from the Ghost in the Shell. But as its own movie, I definitely give it a 7. It has great visuals. The cinematography is breathtaking.
Yes, exactly.
The music is pretty well done. They even have the classic soundtrack,
I know.
which was
Yeah.
cool.
The reason why it wouldn't be an 8 for me would probably be like, because like even if you view it as a regular movie, some scenes would be so confusing.
Yeah.
They're not necessary. So you'd be like, what? Oh, okay. Why?
Yeah, definitely.
For me, probably a 6. Like the moments where it was like the anime were the best moments.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
And devoid of that, it just kind of feels like it is
Feels
like
like you've
the
been
villains. The villain's really good, but there are those scenes that feel
Yeah.
pointless.
True, definitely.
If you're not
yeah.
like intimate with the actual film,
True, yeah.
the original film, there's moments where you're like,
What?
why is this here? Why is
Or,
this?
yeah, or even then it can be a little awkward. Like the whole process that was awkward as shit.
Yeah.
That was not
Yeah.
smooth at all.
No, I
Not
felt so
all, I'm
so
sorry.
out of place
Not
and
at
it was
all.
awkward, and I didn't know where they were going and where they wanted to go with
Exactly.
this, and it just
Exactly.
I mean, I think a 6 is fair. I was bordering on 6.5, but I think a 6.
I think a 6
is
is
about
fine.
fair for me. Because I've seen a lot of sci-fi
yeah.
Yeah.
movies,
Okay.
and this for me, it's sort of memorable, but it doesn't have the impact.
Yeah.
Like the original movie, the ending is impactful because of what it means.
Makes you think.
In
you're
this
like,
one,
oh,
it just feels like a generic action movie
It feels
ending.
like you
Yeah,
forget
true.
about it in a week.
cookie cutter, fucking clean. Just like, oh, she's nice. She's, she
Yeah.
runs the whole thing.
Anyways, is that all we have left? To do?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
about it.
Alright, so I'm Anarch, I'm the cast as always.
Energize Gaming.
And I'm Goblin Green.
And hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. If you
Yes.
want to check out some more, check out our channel, Nerds United.